Um, I I really didn't really understand Haiti. I didn't understand the people there, and after going there, I kind of understand them now, and I have a heart for them.
Girl, and her name was Angela. And Angela was 2 years old when they found her. She was walking on the streets in Haiti by herself. Um, she was very, very malnourished, and she had rats eating at her face. And as I held this little girl, there were scars on both sides of her cheeks, and you knew that's where the rats had chewed at her.
I took this little girl, and she was crying at first, and then it was just like she climbed up on me and just began hugging me.
Holding the kids on the bus, just the way they clung to you as you picked them up, and they didn't want to be put down, and they'd scream if you put them down. One of the orphans was really, really fussy, and I finally got to make him smile. I picked him up and put him in the window, and he wanted to peek out the window, and so we'd peek out the window, and I'd put him back down for a little bit, hold him, and if I stood and rocked back and forth, then he was happy.
I had the thought cross my mind. It's like, here's an orphaned child, and the women in Haiti will care for this child, but she will probably never in her life be adopted. She will probably never in her life have a man, a father figure who will care for her. I feel probably the most important way that God used me was taking and embracing this child, the father's embrace, and praying for her, and praying that she never lacked the Father's love in her life.
I think God used us all in similar ways. We all were used in different ways, but a lot of us in similar ways, even just like loving the orphans and, grew us all in prayer, I'm sure, and just the eye-opening experience of, hey, people really live like this, and it's not fake.
I had a lot of fear, and I think that he was breaking that off little by little. He brought me to a breaking point, the end of myself, to where I couldn't trust myself. I couldn't trust anybody else. I had to put all of my faith and all of my trust in him in those moments. And it was scary, very scary. And I don't think I've ever been in a situation like that to where I had to just trust the Lord and nobody else. At the women's conference, this lady shared a testimony that night before at the revival service, Pastor Jacob called up those who had growths and tumors. She ran up there, lifted her hands. You could tell that she had faith in her eyes. She got prayer, went back to her seat, and that night, I believe it's an angel, but a man came to her in her sleep, all dressed in white, along with two women dressed in white. He came up to her and said, "I'm here to heal you. Pastor Jacob sent me, and I'm going to do surgery on you." She said, "Okay." He said, "Please roll over to your back." She was laying on her stomach at that time. And he grabbed a sack of tools, opened them up, cut her open, pulled the growth out of her, sewed her back up, and said, "You are healed, be blessed." And they left her. And she's telling this story, freaking out, yelling and screaming. You can tell she was healed.
Getting up in front of over 200 people on that Wednesday night revival service and giving my testimony and was able to speak with a translator, that was pretty powerful.
I had taken some pictures last year, and I had those developed, and I took them back with me. And one of the translators, Kinson, took them out and passed. He found those people, and he passed them out. And as we got back Friday from our boat ride, a young man was walking down the street, and he called me by name. He remembered me from last year, and it was impactful to me.
The ladies were so full of faith. Most of them had had children die and prayed their children back to life, so they ministered to us more than we did to them.
I enjoy probably more than anything. We preach these messages in the revival services. We see hundreds of people respond, and I believe wholeheartedly beyond salvation, beyond healing, there's going to be lives transformed, and I'm sure there's going to be Haitians one day that we'll see in heaven because of the ministry that we did there.
On that 10-hour bus ride, when I'm 100 million degrees with 200 million degree children throwing up and screaming and sweating, and I'm crying and singing at the same time, just kind of at my breaking point. Never really been to that point before in my life, and it's just 100% trusting God, and that's all you can do.
So after worship at that same revival, the place was packed. We weren't outside anymore. We were in just a big cement building that had about 6 or 7 doors surrounding the building, and there were concrete blocks with little holes all around them, just at different places. And the house was packed. You smelled all kinds of smells of body, and the doors were filled with 7 to 10 people just with faces sticking in while Jacob is preaching. There were little ones all on the front rows, and their eyes were glued to Jacob. All in the holes in the concrete blocks, you would see fingers and you would see little white eyeballs just peering through and just wanting to hear every word that came out of Jacob's mouth. It was powerful. And that night, at the altar call, we just pretty well opened it up for anybody who needed prayer. We started about 15 feet away from the back wall, and by the time it was done, Jacob and I had been pretty well squished all the way backwards. It was awesome. People got healed. The first 2 women that came up were just at the altar call in general, where they wanted salvation. They wanted God to be in their lives. They wanted to give their lives to the Lord, and that blessed me. I think
when we returned, the Lord has just continued to repeat this scripture to me over and over again. The one about how it's easier for the camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get to heaven, and just that before the Haiti trip, I would have said a millionaire would have been a rich person, and now I clearly hear the Lord saying, "I am the rich man. You are the rich man. We are the rich men." And I think I just see how much I didn't get it, how much America doesn't get it. We are focused on the wrong things. And in Haiti, things were so simple.
Have lots of patience. There's a lot of hurry up and wait. So, yeah, definitely be patient.
I think everywhere that I've gone has been a fairly impoverished nation. I don't think you'll ever get used to seeing poverty. You can see television commercials, you can hear people say stories, you can look at pictures, but until you see it with your own eyes, it's just we lack that point of reference in how wealthy every single American is. You don't have to live in $1 million home. We are all wealthy. And it's like when you see that poverty, you go through these moments where, man, I am going to change. I'm not going to take for granted the things that I have, but you know, how often can we say we've been to an altar call, or we've had, you know, some God encounter, or we've had some experience like going to Haiti where it's like, man, this is life transforming, this is life changing. I'm never going to be the same, but within a month, we're right back to exactly how we were before. So I don't know. I guess I'm still not used to seeing that level of poverty. Prayerfully, I never will be. But I guess walking away from it this time, I want to keep it fresh in my mind. I don't want to forget 3 months from now that there are impoverished, starving children, orphaned babies in Haiti. Able to embrace that young girl country. This isn't America. Maybe we could do a trip to, Idaho or something like that. But listen, if you're going to go to Haiti, man, you're going to poor nations. You're going to eat poor food. You're going to drive on terrible roads in not properly cared for vehicles. It's an adventure. It's fun. Man, Jules in heaven, I'm sure, are going to be there because of what we endured. But I'm not looking for a place in Fox's Book of Martyrs because of a rough bus ride. That's just me, but no, that's what you're stepping into if you go to Haiti.